Good evening, beautiful ladies and gentlemen. How are we on this Friday evening, the 16th of May, 2025? Welcome back to RickCast. You made it to the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. I hope you are unwinding from a long week. I'm here to give you some things to talk about, coverage of some stuff that's going on today as I give you one more show before I apparently or will give you the ability to dismiss you. Uh, so it is what it is, and I'm happy to see you all on our platforms that we're hanging out on: Getter, Rumble, X, and YouTube. Special shout out to everybody over on Getter. Gettr. Yeah, that platform's still there and it's thriving. The fact that people don't know about Getter, shh. But not really. It's a great place. If you're looking for, if X is getting you down because of its censorship and all this other kind of nonsense, I would absolutely look into a Getter account because that place is doing pretty well right now as far as promoting free speech. You still, you still get the news. And my wife just made me delicious shrimp tacos, so I might have a little bit of the burps for a couple minutes, but my wife, an amazing cook, she just made me some delicious shrimp tacos. But the thing that everybody's still stuck on X for is the news, right? Even myself. Oh, I got to stay on X because if I'm not on X, I'm not going to get the news. What's going to happen? Getter is an amazing source for news because you can follow One American News. You can follow all the places you follow. You just don't get all the annoying reporters and all the left-wing reporters that are on X. So if you're looking for a place to hang out, Getter, I would absolutely recommend it. We're kind of we're a mini hit over on Getter, and I really do appreciate you guys over there. Do me a favor, hit me the likes and all that kind of stuff, retweet everything over there, help us grow even more. And so same thing on Rumble, same thing on YouTube. My bar rats are filtering in as we get ready for the that is G-Money. Shrimp tacos are pimpalicious, especially the ones my wife makes. She makes them on corn, not flour, because my wife, the beautiful, amazing woman that she is, the Mexican American that she is, says flours are for gringos, and she refuses. She won't eat them because she didn't grow up with them. So we had them on corn with some lettuce and some shredded cheese. And for her, because, she's got the spice, she had some Louisiana hot sauce. Me, since I'm allergic to spice, I just had them without. But they were pimpalicious and delicious. Yes, post whatever you want, G. Go ahead and take care of it. I would love it if you posted on here. Please do so. So yes, it is. It's a good night. I'm very happy to be hanging out with you guys. A lot of more SCOTUS, man. I don't know what to tell you. SCOTUS is killing. Like, remember The Sandlot, the movie The Sandlot? You're breaking my ball. You're killing me, Smalls. That was Cartman. Sorry, you're breaking my balls. From The Sandlot, you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. That's what I feel like right now, SCOTUS. It's like, you're killing me, SCOTUS. You're killing me, man. What are you doing? And it's so SCOTUS blocked Trump's ability to deport under the Aliens and Insurrection Act, the one with John Adams, the Alien and Sedition Act. So that's getting us closer to habeas corpus. I don't think anybody understands that. DHS, there are rumors going around that DHS was going to have a reality show with illegal immigrants or criminal aliens or whatever you want to call them competing for citizenship. And that just shows you how badly the immigration narrative is working for the Trump administration. The thing that they got elected on, which was deportations and all that kind of stuff, it's not going well. And the pressure is mounting, like, between both. So hey, Lou, how are you? So it's not a good look. But we'll talk about that real quick. Really awesome. We're on Pope. This is a Pope Leo XIV show. We love the Holy Father. We are glad the Holy Father's there. We rejoice in the Holy Father. His official portrait came out today, which was pretty cool. But on top of that, he put the hammer down and said, yeah, marriage is between a man and a woman. Because remember, people were asking, how long is it going to take for us to find out what Pope Leo's 14th, it's going to be like? Because Francis, it was pretty quick. He didn't wear the vestments when he came out, and he started talking about progressive stuff. And then he had the "Who am I to judge" line, and the LGBT MAP mafia just ran with that for 12 years. And Pope Leo wasted no time in being like, yeah, no, man, woman, children deserve a mother and a father. So, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news: the 2,000-year history of the church has been reaffirmed. So it is great to see in that regard. And our good friend G in the chat is, for Catholics, if you know about the Holy Face devotion, apparently the Holy Father last night, where is it? Pope Leo XIV is credited for establishing the Arch Fraternity of the Holy Face. So if you pray the Holy Face devotion, maybe you can offer that up for his pontificate. I used to do the Holy Face devotion daily. Hearing that the Holy Father does that, I'm gonna have to pick that back up. And it's a chaplet. It takes maybe 5 minutes. The chaplets are not very difficult. If you're not a Catholic, you're like, oh, there's another thing. No, it's a nice reflection for blasphemy and things like that. A lot of the degeneracy in the world, the Holy Face is a great prayer against that. And maybe the Holy Father, not maybe, since he was part of that, maybe it'd be a good thing for us, if you have done it, to pick it back up and get back into the fray. Like I said, I think I'll lead by example, and I'll start doing it probably tonight before I go to sleep. So yay, Pope Leo XIV is Catholic. I guess we can actually answer the question: is the Pope Catholic? Brian, I'm happy you're here at all, brother. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, even for a couple minutes. Your support, whatever it is, guys. I know G said she might have to leave early. I also understand it's Friday night, so I'm not going to keep the show long because, people got things to do. So I appreciate you spending whatever time you have with me to do that. And finally, we're going to talk about the massive bomb that this show Ironheart, Marvel has debuted a trailer for a show called Ironheart, which is ostensibly a DEI Tony Stark. It's a young black girl who steals all of Tony Stark's ideas and is credited as being smarter than him. So it's been absolutely shredded on the internet. See, it was made 5 years ago, and they hid it in the tank for 5 years because the people that work within Marvel that don't like what's going on, they're like, this show is trash, dude. This show is trash, and more people are not gonna. It's gonna hurt the Marvel brand even more with that. All right, let's get to some hot takes. Well, hey, G Money, you be safe, man. You be safe. Don't let my dulcet tones lull you to sleep. So it is what it is. So 47 and 47, baby. That's right. 47 and 47 beers for 47 years. That's something that only the bar rats have access to such stamina and power. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our first hot take. Couple updates on some stuff. Is that it, or is that it? Nope, that's not it. Where's my stories that I decided to put together and research for you people, like I did. All right, here we go. There it is. First story. We talked about James Coney yesterday, and how James Coney said he wanted to, quote unquote, YouTube. This is a news story. I am not saying it. 8647. And everybody was like, oh, James Coney's in trouble. Yeah, well, guess what? Nothing happened. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You and I, oh, that's me. Hold on. You and I knew this was going to be this way. Wrong one. There it is. Sorry. We'll talk about bad Trump in a second. James Comey was not arrested after his meeting with the Secret Service. What a shock. Oh, my goodness. You mean a swamp rat was brought in to talk to other swamp rats? And after talking to the other swamp rats, they decided not to arrest a fellow swamp rat. Wow, what an amazing thing. No, but nobody is shocked here. You shouldn't be shocked that the swamp protected its own. And that's why guys like Comey feel comfortable writing that stuff, because they know there's 0.0.0.0 nada Not a chance that they're never going to get it. Never going to get it, meaning be put in jail. So it is what it is, man. Yeah, right. He's gonna share cells with Fauci and Hillary. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not, man. So it is what it is in that regard. I thought you all would like an update to that. But I know my audience is intelligent, attractive, and smart enough to know that was going to happen, and wise enough to know that wasn't going to happen. So it is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put that up. Oh, funny though. Yar. Anyway, let's get to our next hot take here. We call President Trump fairly on this show. I voted for Trump 3 times, so I am not an anti-Trumper. I like to say good Trump, bad Trump. Because nobody's perfect. He's not a messiah. He's not any of these other kinds of things, but he needs to be called out. He's not perfect. And this is one where we're going to call out bad Trump. And we need to call out bad Trump because Trump has enough eyes and ears on the internet. And that's no, Brian, you're fine. I shouldn't have you're fine. Put whatever you want in my chat. I don't care. I just shouldn't have. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. But we call Trump evenly because Trump has enough people online that if enough people say it, he may consider the other way. Because Trump wants to do what is, he wants to please his base as best he can. So, and by the way, you can say whatever you want in my chat. I don't care, but I have one specific rule. You can either you can talk about random stuff in my chat, or you can call me an idiot. You can't do both. And that's what happened last night on News from the Pew, in case anybody was asking. I had a commenter who was talking about random stuff, left, right, and center, nonsensical things. And then he's like, Rick doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay. No. Either call me an idiot or talk about random stuff. Pick a lane. Okay. I'm too ADD for that. But you guys, I'm not worried about my bar rats. My bar rats will I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna have to start putting monitors in my chat to help me out, and I will have to give away some ban hammers to some guys to start putting it down on people. So let's get to our second hot take of the day, or second news. Bad Trump. This is bad Trump. So the Trump administration is working on a plan to permanently relocate 1 million Palestinians from Gaza to Libya. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea, President Trump. I don't know who is in your ear, and I don't know why they are. That's my fault for not silencing it before. I don't know who's in your ear. I think we know who's in your ear, but you got to reconsider this. You cannot do this. This is a recipe for a forever war where American soldiers will die, because American soldiers are going to have to be the ones that go in and round up these people and put them in a different place. And that's just a recipe for the bad Hamas to come, and blood will be spilled. American soldiers will die here. And I'm not trying to say this hyperbole. I'm serious. You put American troops on the ground there, they will be attacked and they will die, and it will be on your head, Trump. I know you don't want that. I know you respect our men and women in uniform. I know this because you have reverence for them, you appreciate them. If you love our American troops the way you say you do, and the way I actually think you do, I think you do. I don't think you lie when you say that. You've got to reconsider this. You cannot do this. And this is not me as a Catholic saying most of those 1 million, a majority of those 1 million, we know are going to be the Palestinian Christians. They're the first ones to go. And those sites that are sacred to us Catholics and Christians will be left in the hands of either Israel or Hamas. And I ask you this, is either one of those a good option? The answer is no. So President Trump, please reconsider this. If anybody on Getter, because I know that's a big platform for him, that in truth, if you hear him and you know something, tell him to reconsider this. Please tell him that this is an awful idea, because A, the Palestinian Christians will be the worst impacted here. And B, even more importantly, American troops will die. They will die. So this is Trump. This is bad Trump, man. I have to call it like I see it. And I'm only saying this out of as much Christian Catholic charity as I can. I'm not saying this to get on Trump and be like, oh, he's so stupid. No, I am telling you, if you revere the troops that you say that you do, and I think you do, I actually do think you care about the men and women in uniform, then you need to protect them. You need to watch out for them. And you need to get out of this plan. You've got to get it out. You have to get us out of this tailspin that we have to somehow colonize Palestine. And I know it's your son-in-law that's probably pushing you on this, but you gotta not listen to him on this one. You've got to get out of this. I know it's Ivanka's husband and all that. You gotta stop. You have to. I'm saying it over and over again because I want you to understand how serious I am. All right. Even if you guys don't care about the Christians in Palestine, I know you care about American troops, and I know you care how your legacy looks. You're a big anti-war president. That's one thing that you've been very big on. You put American troops in Palestine because those are the only ones that are going to do it. They will be attacked, they will be injured, and there will be blood and treasure spilt. For what? Something that I don't think it can be done. Let me be completely clear. I don't think it can be done. Because the cost in American lives will be awful, A. B, as soon as President BBL gets in there, either in 4 years or 12 years or whatever, they're going to get out of it. They're going to abandon it. So all the work you put in will be for naught. It will be for naught. It's not going to go as quickly as I think your people are telling you. It smells like the Bay of Pigs. It smells like Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom, where they were greeted as liberators. Smells like all of these things where we're promised sign on the dotted line, and in 24 hours, America's going to go in and we're going to wipe everything out and we're going to have total control. It's not the way it works, especially in the Middle East. Please, we are not involved primarily. I mean, we're supporting, Saudis against the Yemens and all the, against the Houthis and all these other kinds of things. But we're not actively in conflicts right now. And anything in Palestine, it's gonna tick off who? It's gonna tick off the Iranians. So just please don't. I'm saying it out of as much Christian charity as possible. President Trump is a guy who likes you, who has voted for you, who believes that, you're there for the best reasons. I don't think anybody can fix the presidency or the federal system or anything, but I think you're there for the best reasons anybody could be there. Don't do it. Please don't do it. It's going to be a disaster. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us on RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, do all the fun things. You're not going to get this opinion from many people. You're going to get that from me, maybe Steve Cunningham, and maybe a couple others. Everybody else is going to go, oh, we're going to go to Palestine. And they're all going to turn into Kermit the Frog. Hi, we're going to go to Palestine. It's going to be fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. One more time. No, it's not. I'd rather be a coward and have American lives be saved than be gung-ho, Lee Greenwood trying to win another war in the Middle East. It's an unjust war, and you don't want that. It's an unjust conflict, and you'll be expelling Christians and Catholics from their land as well. All right, RickCast. Let's get to our first story of the day. Oh, killing me, SCOTUS. You're killing me, SCOTUS. You're killing me. And this is running Trump straight into habeas corpus. You are forcing his hand on habeas corpus. Supreme Court rejects Trump's bid to resume quick deportations of Venezuela under 1798 law. Let's take a look.
Just basically said you're not going to be able to, we're going to take a pause. You're not going to be able to use John Adams' Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport the illegal aliens that have invaded our country.
Before anybody gives me nonsense about this is actually one of the few there was no other news coverage of this story at the time when I was putting together my my research for the show. This was the only actual media outlet that covered it. So that's why we're using it.
Country, ma'am, how big
And I actually am a fan of Julie Kelly. I think she's a great reporter.
a deal is this?
It's another head scratcher from the Supreme Court, which the Supreme Court has admitted, district court judges and appellate court judges have admitted that the president's exercise of the Alien Enemies Act is a political branch under the political branch purview, that it does not involve the courts. They've admitted that it is not subject to judicial review. So what are we doing here? He has determined that these illegal Venezuelans who are tied to Tren de Aragua, which has been designated a foreign terror organization by the president, by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. We know that they are. We know that this gang is dangerous. They include murderers, drug traffickers, human traffickers, and the president wants to get these people out of our country. But you have the courts rushing to their defense, including the Supreme Court and what they did at 1 o'clock this morning. And this is a separate case. This is not the case that we've been following in Washington in Judge Bossberg's courtroom. This is another venue. They have the ACLU is filing these lawsuits all over the country. So this is in the Northern District of Texas. So here's the trick, Steve. Here's what the ACLU does. They file a lawsuit on behalf of 2 or 3 anonymous illegal Venezuelans who they say are going to be deported under the Alien Enemies Act, which the president signed March 14th, went into effect March 15th. He signed the 14th, went into effect the 15th. They started removing these individuals right away. This is what resulted in the first lawsuit for Judge Bossberg. But now they're doing this all over. So they filed the initial lawsuit under anonymous illegal Venezuelans, and then they seek to turn that into a class-wide temporary restraining order covering anyone in that certain jurisdiction who would be covered by or subject to deportation under the Alien Enemies Act, which, again, the courts have said over the past month is not subject to judicial review because the president has determined that this group is a foreign terror organization and represents an invasion by a hostile regime, which TDA is supported by the Maduro regime. This is completely and solely under the executive branch authority. Nonetheless, the Supreme Court swoops in this morning and protects this certain group. And you will note, and I've been posting all morning on @Julie_Kelly too, calling it a putative class, meaning, and this is the judge in Texas, denied the temporary restraining order and the request to turn a couple of these unnamed illegals into a class action lawsuit. He denied that. So now the Supreme Court swoops in. It's at the appellate court level now. ACLU goes crying to the Supreme Court, and now is a temporary hold on deporting these act subjects out of northern Texas until the Supreme Court decides what to do from here.
Okay. So, yeah, not great. For those of you that care, this is going to push Trump further into habeas corpus. If you don't want habeas corpus to be enacted, then you didn't want this ruling to happen. Because the farther you push Trump into a supposed corner with SCOTUS stepping in, even Justice Brett Kavanaugh stated that the court's decision focused only on notice requirements, not the actual legality of departing or deportations under the Aliens Act. So now this case goes back to lower appellate courts for further review regarding the due process and deportation procedures. Now you got to remember, and I talked with, and I went back and forth with Steve Cunningham last night, and he has a lot of good points, but I think we're looking at the idea of due process is being muddied, right? And they think it's like from some kind of Latin phrase of processus duisus or whatever. The fact is, due process is this. This was the best example I heard, and it's from multiple people. Due process is you get pulled over, or you get into a traffic accident, whatever. Let's say that, right? You break the law. The police walk up to your car and they say, I need your license and registration, please. I'm using the 19-year-old in Georgia because it's the best example. She was driving without a license. She took a wrong right on a red or something. She violated the law. Police officer came up and said, I need your license and registration, please. She says, I don't have a license. I have an international license, but I don't have a license. And that itself, that's a second law that she's broken. Actually, it's a third because she's illegal. It's a second law that she's broken. That law is a $500 fine and 2 days in jail. We're not talking like, Shawshank Redemption type stuff, but it's still, the law is the law. Do we apply the law equally, or do we spot the law when we feel like it? That's my question to all these people. Do we spot the law when we want, or do we apply it equally to everybody? So she says, I don't have a license. I don't have insurance. And then she volunteered, that 19-year-old, I'm an illegal. I'm an illegal alien. That's it. That's it. That's your due process. Because if you are if you are here without a visa, some kind of papers, green card, I don't care. A special note from somebody saying that you have permission to be in these United States. And we're the only country in the West that is doing this. Every other country has strict immigration laws. Pick your favorite European utopia. They all have Mexico has strict immigration laws. Canada has strict immigration laws. But if you say you are illegal, that's it. Your due process is up. Because guess what? The due process for somebody who's here illegally is you go back. But it's become muddied with the ACLU and all these other groups who have said, well, they need a trial and they need to do this and they need to do that. Well, hold on. If they are here illegally and it is determined whether they don't have a license, a birth certificate, a visa, something that says they can be here, then guess what? Their due process, that's where it ends. That's where it ends for illegal criminal alien trespassers. There's no more due process for them. But of course, we have so many immigrant attorneys, and the law has been muddied to a certain extent. With they have constitutional rights, and they really don't. They really do not. The Constitution is for U.S. citizens. Now, there are certain exemptions in certain cases. I get it. But if you say, or you're found to be here illegally, then you have no due process. But now we have to clarify. We have to clarify the deportation procedures. You know who has the deportation procedures? DHS, Customs and Border. Guess where those all fall under? They all fall under the purview of the executive branch. And so it's very frustrating to see these judges coming out and throwing all this stuff that they never choose to do before.
Just ruled against the Trump administration from using the Alien Enemies Act to deport illegals without giving them proper notice. I would just like to take this moment to remind my Democrat friends about the precedent that you guys set right here.
Supreme Court blocked me from relieving student debt, but they didn't stop me. So far, I've relieved student debt for nearly 5 million Americans. I'm going to keep it going. A promise made is a promise kept, and we're speaking to the courts.
I say keep the planes going. Let's give them proper notice when they're in detention centers being prepped for deportation. You might block us, but you're not going to stop us. Promises made, promises kept. Isn't that what you said? We're going to follow your precedent.
Now, I'm playing that for this one reason. The American people, the people that voted for Trump, the people that voted for deportations, the people that voted for immigrants to be removed. Remember, we played it after Trump. 90% of the people that voted said they want illegal immigrants deported. They want them deported. They want them gone. If they're not here the right way, they need to go. But now with, Abrego Garcia and then this 19-year-old and of course the left-leaning media pulling out all the stops that they can, to try and muddy the waters and give you the feels, so you feel bad for these people that if you did it, if it was the other way and you were in another country, they wouldn't even blink. They wouldn't even blink. They black hat you, put you in a plane and say, sayonara, have fun going back home. Yet we are continuing to have to jump through hoops because we have a SCOTUS deciding that we need to have a magical due process here, or we have to clarify how these processes and procedures are being done. And it's frustrating because these detainees must receive a timely and meaningful access to due process. The due process is, hi, you're an illegal immigrant. You're not here legally. Your due process ends. But the legal industrial complex, and they're all industrial complexes, whether it's education, entertainment, all of these things. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And it's one step closer, in my opinion, to habeas corpus being enacted. And then it's just going to, all hell's going to break loose. And it's not, and I don't even blame Trump. I know Steve and I go back and forth. From Trump's perspective, does this mean I agree with him? Maybe, maybe not. From Trump's perspective, he has no choice but to enact habeas corpus. He has no chance. He has no choice to do it because he's gone through other channels and he's been blocked at every step. And the will of the majority of the people that voted for Trump, and this is the part that I think people need to realize. The majority, there's a lot of people that feel the exact same way the guy I just showed you feels, right? We've had previous administrations ignore SCOTUS and just continue on. You're getting to a point, and this is the last thing I'll say here. We're getting to a point with these injunctions and the way SCOTUS is acting that trust will be eroded even more in these institutions, which of course is the left's real goal. They want these institutions to be eroded to such a point that we call for change, for revolution. And SCOTUS is playing right into their hands because Roberts is spineless. Kavanaugh is spineless. Gorsuch in this case is spineless. They're all Amy Coney Barrett, worst SCOTUS ever. Worst SCOTUS ever. I'll join on, let me get my warning here for you guys, for some of you. I don't ever want to see a female judge from a Republican again. We've done it. We tried. We put Amy Coney Barrett on there. She shocked everybody with her blank notebook, and she has been a disaster. Now, Tim Pool has a theory that she has changed how she acts since she helped overturn Roe v. Wade. She's scared. Roe v. Wade was overturned, and then it was Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh's life was threatened because a guy was able to fly from California to Maryland with a firearm somehow. And his life was threatened. She is she's scared to rule against the left. She is. You can almost, it's not a 6-3 majority anymore. It's a 5-4 majority. In some cases, it's a 5-4 majority for the left with Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. It's an absolute disaster. But the left has been able to erode the trust in this institution to such a point that we're seeing the judicial branch cower in the face of opposition. It's not a good thing. If you think it's a good thing, if you think that this decision was a good thing, you don't see the long-term impact that I see. Now, most of the time I'm not, but still I see this as a negative for the institutions going forward. All right, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Second one up tonight. You get a little singing, I'm sorry. From the New York Post, DHS vetting potential reality TV show where migrants compete for U.S. citizenship. Now, this has been supposedly debunked by law enforcement Barbie, and all of those people said, no. There's absolutely no truth to this false, nasty rumor. And the details is there's a supposed reality show, The American, which I think was already, it's an FX show, so I don't know if they can get the copyright to that. It would feature 12 criminal aliens competing in challenges across the U.S. for expedited citizenship. Starting at Ellis Island, the contestants would face a task like log balancing in Wisconsin or rocket launching at Cape Canaveral. While DHS confirms the show is in early vetting stages, controversy surrounding Secretary Kristi Noem's involvement is there because, of course, law enforcement Barbie has got to be involved in all of these things. The show promises corporate sponsorship opportunities and aims to spark a national conversation about American values through immigrants' perspective. Now, all I'm going to say is, while the idea is funny on its face, it's kind of humorous. It's the most American thing you can do. Like, let's take these illegal aliens and make them like, eat 20,000 hot dogs in a minute to see if they're really American or not, and have them run through a Walmart to see how much cheap Chinese crap they can buy in 5 minutes. Whatever the case may be. It is what it is, and it's just terrible. It's just terrible. The great thing is if they get Charles Barkley to actually commentate on it, that will be fine. I actually would be okay. I don't want them going across the country. Here's my thing. Since we're let's do our Mad Men thoughts, our elevator pitches. This idea, but instead of across the country, American Gladiators. Bring back American Gladiators, and if the immigrants win, if the immigrant wins American Gladiators, they get permanent status. That's what I want to see. I want to see them go and like all against Nitro and the other American Gladiators. First of all, it would bring back an American classic. Like, we're all about nostalgia. I think we need to bring back American Gladiators. Second, you would show, after they passed it, they'd have to take like the immigrant test after. And let's just do that instead of bringing them across the country. Let's not make it educational. Let's make it as an entertainment as possible. Let's have them fight with those, the goofy sticks. Remember the goofy sticks? They were fighting on that, right? You got to get Thunder, Laser, Blazer, Nitro. Get them all back, man. Get them all back. That's what I want. If we're going to do this, let's do it. And hey, if the illegals can't get past Thunder, Nitro, and Laser, then they don't deserve to be citizens. That's simple. Better than balancing on a log or firing a rocket from Cape Canaveral. That's all dumb. That's dumb. It's just dumb, right? From Knives Out. I don't like those movies, but that one quote is fantastic. So stupid, it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb. It really is bread and circuses at this point, Bellator. You're 100% right. We're going to make a reality show about immigrants. If they win, one immigrant will get the prize, and then they'll get a rose, and then they'll get to marry one of the girls from The Bachelor. Let's just make one big reality TV game and just shove all the reality TV shows together. And if they win all of them, like they got to win a year's gauntlet of reality shows, from like The Bachelor to The Amazing Race to American Gladiators to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. If they win all of those, then they get to be a citizen, right? So the reports universally emphasize the elaborate nature of the proposal, from the symbolic starting point at Ellis Island to the grandiose finale at the Capitol, where they'll have to walk in. Let's just say they have to walk into the Capitol and see if they can grab a podium. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that might be too far for some people. But hey, I don't know. This is so dumb. It's just dumb. But it's America, right? So we'll see if this story survives the weekend. I'll let you know on Monday if this story, right now they're talking about it. It's probably a trial balloon. Maybe we'll do a reality show. And everybody's like, it's just dumb. Okay, no, we're not doing it. No, it was a joke. We were throwing things together. But yeah, it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. But that is the state of American politics right now. The most serious issue to so many people, which is immigration. Let's just make a reality TV show out of it. All right, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Here's the best story of the day, right? I have to get a stinger with Pope Leo and just like Pope Leo and Pope Leo supremacy. Right now, this is a Pope Leo the 14th Stan account. We love the Holy Father. We are on Popium right now, not Copium. We're on the Popium. We love it. And this is, I woke up this morning and I looked at this and I said, oh, yay. Oh, yay. I love it. It's so good. And this, I think people, part of it is, the fact that for 12 years, Catholics like myself and a lot of, wait, if you'd like, there's a Topps rookie card you can buy of him. I actually might have to buy this. This is a real thing. You can buy the Topps rookie trading card of the Pope, which I may have to buy. This is the Pope's official portrait that was dropped today. Big thing is he actually has there's something in Latin that's there. And then Leo the 14th, that's his official portrait. And his crucifix. I know it's, guys, you're smarter than I am. Correct me in the chat. The crucifix that he's wearing, it's a special, there's a special name for the crucifix that the Pope wears. And that one, somebody said it on Twitter, which means it has to be true. That is the actual crucifix or the cross that Leo the 13th wore. I'm pretty sure that is the one that Pope Leo the 14th wore. The pectoral cross. Thank you. I knew my audience is smarter than I am. I know my audience is so much smarter than I am. It's the pectoral cross. He's had a couple pectoral crosses in the early days. He had one that had the relics of St. Augustine and some others on. Then he had the Russian one, which was pretty dope as well. But that's the one that he has officially gone with. And I think that's pretty cool that he's good. If that is true, that it is the same pectoral cross that Pope Leo the 13th wore. Let me see. Pope Leo the 13th. Let me see if I can get the picture of it. You guys can be the judge of this. Let me see. Let me get this over here. Moving at lightning speed. So this is the pectoral cross that Pope Leo the 13th wore. Come on. You just did it 5 seconds ago. It's like a puppy. This is ridiculous. And it's blocking the one thing I need. I hate you, Getty. So dumb. Let's see. I'm doing this because whatever. We're just hanging out. So that supposedly is the same pectoral cross that Pope Leo the 13th wore. And the one that actually has like the best shot of it, I can't actually use. But if you can see, that's very similar to the one that Pope Leo is using right now. The card is sold out. Maybe they'll do a second run. Even in the future, dude, right now, even in the future, nothing works. But Lou, your job, Lou, is to keep an eye on the Pope Leo the 14th card. If it comes back into stock, you got to send me it. But if you could get a better view, can we get a good view there? No, we can't. Rick, stop doing this. But it was so cool when somebody brought it up. But it looks like it's the same pectoral cross that Pope Leo the 13th wore. Which, if that's the case, that's pretty dope that he did it that way. Anyway, those are side issues, not really the point of the story. Pope Leo comes out today. He had his official portrait, which you'll see at your Catholic church, if not this Sunday, next Sunday. He came out with that, and then this headline, which the left has, of course, not responded to well, which makes it even better. Remember, because what did the left say? What did fellow conservatives say? He's a woke pope. Oh, he's terrible. He's an open border. Laura Loomer had a conniption fit. He's not MAGA. Blah. Guess what, baby? I'll take it. Because what did we have to do for 12 years? Oh, well, Pope Francis doesn't mean this and doesn't mean that. And I'm not having Francis derangement system. I'm talking about there's a feeling of relief among Catholics. Because guess what, folks? The funny headline here is breaking news, 2,000-year-old teaching reaffirmed by the Pope, which we don't have to explain this now. We don't have to go, well, the teachings of the church are different than Pope Francis's opinion and blah, blah, blah. Not now. Pope Leo XIV affirms family is based on a union between man and woman, and unborn have inherent dignity. Love the Holy Father. It is as the very one. Oh, okay. So I'm guessing, G, you're confirming that it is the same pectoral cross, which, how can you not love? How can you not? In this regard, Lou, we are so back. We are. All right. Even our evangelical brothers and sisters and all those guys can't be like, oh, well, your Pope is it. Nope. Pope Leo puts the hammer down, baby. No, actually, no, I don't think so, Bellator, because he was pretty progressive from the get-go. So it is what it is in that regard. I think it was, but he was pretty much that from the beginning. I think you're seeing tones like he's meeting with groups that Pope Francis would meet with. Now, Bellator, I'm going to bring this back up. We should always be conscious of this. The Pope is human. He's a human being. And Steve Cunningham made a great point last night. Is he going to do everything right? No, he's not. He's not. So I think we need to be happy, and we're happy. I'm very happy today that we don't have to explain this. It's one less thing we have to do. The Pope has clarified the teachings of the church. Union is between man and woman. The dignity of the unborn must be reinforced, and it must be clarified. So Pope Leo XIV affirmed on Friday that the family is founded on the stable union between man and woman. And one of the things about Pope Leo that I like so far is that everything he says, because he's a canon lawyer and he's a mathematician, and if you know a mathematician, they don't say stuff off the cuff, right? Mathematicians, everything is grounded in logic. Everything is grounded in making sure nothing is ubiquitous. There's nothing ubiquitous about what the mathematicians, they exist in ones and zeros, right? They exist in the formula, and he's a canon lawyer on top of that. So he's not going to say things that are like, what do you mean by that? Everything, at least it looks like everything is going to be said, and it's going to be put out that way. So he says, the family is a foundation on stable union between man and woman, and that the unborn and the elderly enjoy the dignity as God's creatures, articulating clear Catholic teaching on marriage and abortion at the start of the pontificate. Now, to Francis's credit, Francis was also very, very good on the unborn. Leo, the first American Pope, also called for reviving multilateral diplomacy and promoting dialogue between religions in the search for peace. In his first meeting with the Vatican Diplomatic Corps, I'm sure people are like, oh, blah, 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 blah. He's not going to, he's not going to call for like a crusade against Islam. The audience was private, but the Vatican released Leo's prepared text and that of the dean with the Diplomatic Corps. The encounter is one of those protocol requirements after the conclave, allowing a new pope to greet representatives of world governments ahead of his formal installation mass this Sunday. The Holy See is a sovereign state under national law. Leo, a member of the Augustinian religious order, has emphasized peace as a priority in his pontificate. From his first words he uttered on the Loggia of St. Peter's Basilica, peace be with you all. In his remarks, he said, the search for peace was one with pillars of the papacy. He insists that peace isn't just for the absence of conflict, but a gift that requires work. From an end the production of weapons to choosing words carefully. For words too, not only weapons, can wound and even kill. Now, is that like kinda, some people will be like, that's kind of woke. I think that's just pretty much par for the course of a diplomat. I don't know, as a gun guy, as the armed papist, I will be very attuned, if that's the right word, to his talk on weapons, because Pope Francis was never his big thing was against the trafficking of arms, right? That everybody was like, oh, people who make weapons can't consider themselves Christian and blah, blah, blah. He was really more referring to the trafficking of arms if you actually dug deep into that statement. He was, of course, the left will take that and pervert it into being anti-gun. But if you really went into it, it's more about the trafficking of arms and so forth. He said it was up to governments to build peaceful societies above all by investing in the family, founded upon a stable union between man and woman. In addition, no one is exempt from striving to ensure respect for the dignity of every person, especially the most frail and vulnerable, from the unborn to the elderly, from the sick to the unemployed, citizen and immigrant alike. And of course, people are going to go, oh, he says immigrant. Guys, right? Our situation has been and yes, right. Let's give the warning. Rick's a Pope splainer, Rick's a Pope splainer, Rick's a Pope splainer, blah blah blah. But we do have a duty if all things were done correctly and we had a legitimate immigration system that wasn't perverted by lawfare and open borders by a supposed Catholic president and the perverting of the catechism, which says immigrants have to respect the countries they go to and live under the laws. If you look at it, it's actually very conservative, the immigration policy of Catholics under the catechism. So the idea of respecting immigrants doesn't mean you let in everybody from the entire world. We can be talking about legal immigrants. We can be talking about actual refugees, like the South African refugees. That's what I'm going to Pope explain, because you're going to hear people take this and be like, oh, he is woke. Pope Francis strongly reaffirmed core Catholic teachings opposing abortion and euthanasia, saying they were evidence of today's throwaway culture. But he made, quote unquote, I'm going to put in quotes, reaching out to LGBT MAP Catholics a hallmark, insisting they are welcome in the church. Now, that's not an anti-Catholic position. You guys may get mad at me for this, but I will say that we are called to hate the sin and love the sinner, right? We are called to help people that strive. We are called to help people that suffer from disorders like same-sex attraction, to help them crush that vice in order to get to heaven. We are not, our Lord and Savior ate with sinners. That didn't mean he condemned them. He did it to convert them. And the idea, that's what a lot of people are saying too. He's Benedict was a scholar, and I believe that Leo is a scholar as well. So hopefully, I'm going to take the same tone with you, Bellator. Hopefully, we're going to see this be true, that he's more of a scholar in these regards. And reaching out to you reach out to somebody like me, somebody who struggles with food. I'm gluttonous with food. It's the biggest vice that I struggle with. I would want my Catholic brothers just to reach out and, help me as much as I can crush said vice. And I would try to help any of my Catholic brothers and sisters if they needed my help, to help them overcome their vices. Our job is to lock arms as Catholics so we get as many of us to heaven as possible. So that's the problem, is that Francis was never, he said, who am I to judge? And we got to reach out to them. And that gave cover for guys like Jimmy Martin. Is that his name? James Martin. You know who I'm talking about. Father James Martin. And I put in quotations because he is a promotion of some very disordered thinking. So he never changed church doctrine, which he couldn't do, by defining marriage as a union between a man and woman, and considered acts that are not natural as intrinsically disordered. As the then head of the Augustinian order, Reverend Robert Prevost in 2012 criticized the unnatural lifestyle and the role of mass media in promoting acceptance of same-sex relationships that conflicted with Catholic doctrine. A decade later, during Francis, he acknowledged Francis's call for a more inclusive church. Now, Anthony Stein has made this very clear, that when you're in the College of Cardinals, it is not wise to go against the Pope, right? It's more of a, he is right. You don't, they don't do it. They saw what happened to Burke. They saw what happened to Sarah. They saw what happened to Strickland. And that's just because the Pope didn't want any dissension. You're right. We do have the right to call out leaders. And I think we should adopt Bellator, the same attitude. I like that. I'm very happy that Leo has done this. I don't think Cardinal Zen, another great example, right? The idea was, if you had a problem, you kind of did it in-house, but you wanted to present the Cardinals are big on presenting a unified front, which made Strickland's actions, Strickland forced them to do what they had to do to him, because of went on podcasts and did all these other things instead of bringing up these issues in house. So right now, I'm still on the honeymoon with Pope Leo the 14th. I think all he's done here is fantastic. I don't see any contradiction with church teaching. Yeah, will the left try to manipulate this? Yes, because the left is evil, and that's, even if he came out perfectly, they would try to manipulate it. But the left right now is having a collective meltdown, and you got to say that's just kind of fun to watch. Because let's see, here's the reaction. I do have this on X. I actually follow this. I had to troll this person because I am kind of a troll. I'm not going to lie about these kinds of things, but let's see. Where is it? Pride.com. Pope Leo said no to marriage equality. He said no to marriage equality. The new Pope's statement on marriage and LGBT MAP rights gives pause to those hoping for more inclusive church. You know what? The light of truth finally shines. This is my favorite GIF right now. I love it. It's my favorite one. The light of truth finally shines. This just in, Pope Leo is reaffirming the teachings of the church. So, Bellator, I like what you're saying here. We are very thankful that our new Pope, Pope Leo the 14th, is measured in his statements, is clear, right? He's not saying it. He says it's a man and a woman, dignity of the unborn. And, we need to help those who struggle with these lifestyles to crush the vices that hold them back. The same you would do with any other vice, any of the other seven deadly sins. So I'm happy with it. I am, very, very good. So it is what it is. Bellator tells us his inauguration coronation is this weekend. That's right. Sunday, May 18th. Once in a lifetime event. So far, he's done great things, and I hope that he continues on the path. Steery, very wounded from Francis. Yeah, I made this point, and that's why I kind of joke about Francis derangement syndrome. 12 years broke a lot of people. The 12 years of the dictator Pope did break a lot of people. It did, because it was exhausting trying to stand up for the faith in the face of a man who was doing everything he could to, under my opinion, please don't strike me down, Lord. It felt like he was trying to undermine the faith and question and bring in doubt in certain teachings. That's why I'm happy we have a canon lawyer who's a mathematician, because he does not deal in ambiguity. He doesn't. So, Bellator, I'm with you. I want to trust. I'm going to take up the Holy Face devotion tonight in prayers exclusively for Pope Leo the 14th, because apparently he's part of the reinstigation of it, right? If Jesus is still in the chat room, you can let Bellator know that, because he came in late. But I'm happy with it. It's a nice win, I'll say, for Catholics who spent 12 years saying, like, no, people in that community, they can't marry, they can't get blessed, all these other things that were kind of dropped in here and there. So we'll see going forward. But so far, I'm not going to worry about things until we get there. I'm going to celebrate. So Viva Pope Leo. Viva Pope Leo. When my wife and I were blessed, we got an opportunity. We're going to go to Rome in August. And if I find a good portrait, you may see a portrait of Pope Leo back there when I get back. I may just have to pull the trigger on that one. And I might get a Luce doll. Next story coming up. I might get a Luce just to see some of you lose your head. Just to see some of you guys lose your face on that, because it's hysterical. the way some of you guys react to it. Some of you guys may come after me now, and that's fine. I think it's funny. I think Luce's fine. Luce is not designed for anybody but the anime community, and the anime community is a huge community. And why not have something that spreads the message, or even people interested in Catholicism that way? I'm not saying put Luce next to the Pieta, right? I'm not saying construct a statue in St. Peter's Square of Luce. I'm not saying any of that. That's ridiculous. I don't want like processions to Luce. That none of that exists. But Luce is designed, and I had a real quick exchange with Beartooth Catholic, who's done some really awesome artwork on Luce. He's like, "Oh, Luce disappeared. Everybody's not talking about her anymore." I was like, "Well, she is where she is. She's in the anime community, and the anime community loves her, and they ask questions about her cross and about all these other things, and it's an opportunity to evangelization." You know, I think Michael, I agree. I think some people took, and the reason it happened is because it was under Francis. The reason it happened is because it was under Francis, and they're like, "Ah, it's terrible." Nobody said that they're gonna like create a 40-foot statue of her. You know what? I think that's it. I'm gonna get a Luce. Steve Cunningham wants one, so I'm gonna get one for him too. Anyway, last story of the night. It's so great to just trigger some people, because it's like, dude, this doesn't hurt anybody. This doesn't hurt the faith. It doesn't draw away from the faith. It is what it is. All right, I'm gonna subject you guys. So hold on. The anime community is the only group that cares to remember her. No, you're not. I'm not sorry. I don't care. Bellator. That's what I just said. If I didn't say it correctly, she was made for the anime community, so that's the only one that's going to remember her. The rest of us, she doesn't impact my life. So it is what it is in that idea. So get a third level relic medal of Luce. Oh, that's so great. If there was one, I'd try to find it. Dude, I love the Crusader stuff, right? I love the Crusader stuff. Now we have to admit that there are a lot of guys who have co-opted the Crusader imagery to LARP around. We have to call that out just as much. There's a lot of guys who LARP as Crusaders, yet they don't want to end the faith. They just want to take the imagery of it. But I feel like this is just a reiteration of what I said. So I think you and I are actually in agreement here. All right, last story of the day, because I don't want to keep you guys it's already 8:00 Eastern time. I don't want to keep you too much longer. So this is going to be part of the death nail. Did you know? You probably didn't. The Daredevil Disney Plus show did not chart in the Nielsen race. None of the episodes charted, which was the first Marvel show not to chart, which shows how badly the brand has been broken. This will be the straw that breaks Marvel. And this is coming out before Fantastic Four. So Ironheart is a DEI replacement of Tony Stark. It's this 19-year-old genius college student at MIT, and she steals tech to pretty much create an Iron Man suit. So she steals Tony Stark's technology, becomes Ironheart. It was one of the worst performing comics ever. I think it only had 13 issues ever produced. And yet she's getting a Marvel show. Thank you, G. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. And this show is greenlit. Brick, good, buddy of mine on X asked, who is this show for? This show was made in 2020 during, the summer of George Floyd. This was greenlit while all of these things were done. The problem is they made this show, and then they watched this show, and they said, this show is awful. And they put it on the shelf in the back behind like 400 Mickey Mouse dolls, hoping nobody would remember this. The problem with shows like this is when they're made, contracts are signed saying, okay, we're going to distribute it and all these other kinds of things. And so they have to drop this. So earlier this week, the buzz around Warner Brothers Superman trailer, which I didn't like, and Marvel Studios' quiet release of Ironheart. If you blinked, you might have missed it. There was no social media blitz, no Kevin Feige hype, no fanfare, just a quiet upload, almost like Marvel fans would hope to scroll past it. Except all the nerds like me went, uh-oh, this is trash. And it's an odd rollout for what should be a big deal, a brand new hero, a Tony Stark legacy successor, and a story that in theory should have been at the heart of the MCU next generation narrative. Instead, Ironheart feels like an attempt by Marvel to bury the show it no longer sure it can believe in 2 years after development. The story follows a girl named Riri Williams, a young genius who reverse engineered her own version of the Iron Man suit while she was, of course, at MIT. She was introduced in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Get the Water Mexicans Out, which is what Midnight Edge calls it, which is hysterical, where she had a promising introduction, then vanished from the MCU. So Ironheart picks up after the events of Wakanda Forever, if you cared, where Riri returns to the U.S., grappling with the consequences of her tech, personal loss, and a mysterious new antagonist who uses dark magic to rival her brilliance. It's a tech versus magic clash, which is just a stealing of Iron Man versus the Mandarin. See, the Mandarin wasn't the crappy Mandarin on Iron Man 3. The Mandarin is deep in magic, and it was supposed to be Tony Stark's tech versus the Mandarin's magic, but they just stole that and gave it to Riri because, you know, this was supposed to be released in 2023, which means it was made in 2021. Ironheart was delayed multiple times. Initially, there was speculation that Marvel was hoping to hold the series back so it could lead more directly into Armor Wars. If you never heard of that, that was a canceled series. Armor Wars has disappeared. So Ironheart was delayed to better align with that, but when that fell through, they kind of went, I don't know what to do. So Marvel and Disney know what they've hit a wall. Post-Endgame, the MCU has Feige show, and he is all about diversity, equity, inclusion. And despite the loss, the films and the brand being destroyed, he continues to push this stuff out. And so now they are releasing the show, and they're hoping that it goes away and that it just kind of disappears from the conversation. And let's see. Let's do one more thing before I go. Why are you doing this to me right now? Because even in the future, nothing works. But it's hysterical because this show has been absolutely just beaten over the head and ratioed into oblivion. Because nobody wants it. This is a show nobody wants. This is a show that nobody wanted. This is a show that is not being received well. And it deserves everything it gets because it was made. You can't even find the trailer anymore. That's crazy. I guess Marvel did everything they could to like strike it from the interwebs. Nobody's excited about this film. Nobody is. It's awful. It looks terrible. It looks like a DEI hire. And it's going to be one of those things that ends this Fantastic Four is doing reshoots right now because apparently everybody hates the ending of it. So they're trying to fix that in post. And Fantastic Four is going to fail. Thunderbolts has failed. This show is going to fail. And I'm telling you, Doomsday, their big event movie, that's going to fail too, to the point where Marvel's going to have to do a reset and actually stop producing content for a couple years. Superman, Fantastic Four, Ironheart all look terrible. Mission Impossible 8, it comes out next week. I'll have a review for that. Thunderbolts is only okay, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, don't forget Captain America, Brave New World. That failed as well. That failed. Snow White failed. Thunderbolts has kind of failed. None of these projects are hitting as they should. And that kind of, as the saying goes, couldn't happen to a better company. All right, folks, that's it for this week. I release you. Head on out to the world this week, and I will talk to you here on RickCast. Do me a favor on your way out. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Help the show grow. Everybody on Getter, thank you so much for watching. Repost the show. Leave a like, leave a comment on there. You guys on YouTube, you're doing your job. making the comments, hitting the likes, doing all that stuff. You guys on Rumble, you guys are doing a great job as well. You people on X, you know, I like some of you, but thank you for watching. All right, I'll talk to you all Monday, guys and gentlemen, and until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.